It's Halloween. Time to talk about being edgy. Halloween is not edgy, which is why people like it. Not that being edgy is bad, but being edgy has to be earned in order to feel decent. And that's not true at Halloween. In Halloween, you can use all of the imagery that edginess normally provides without having to earn it or even be edgy in the first place. You can be cute with it. This is very freeing, and it's one of the reasons why people love this season. Everywhere else, edge comes and goes in waves. We had a big wave back in the 90s. We're on the tail end of a wave right now. But the problem is that at some point, people lose track of the fact that they have to earn their edge. Usually there is a foundational work in the medium which uses edginess well, and it's, crafted reasonably well and appeals to a lot of people, and it has a real edge to it. There's something about it that is grotesque or violent or whatever. And people really enjoy it, so they're like, oh, cool, that's the thing I want to replicate. I want to be like that, but more so. And what they don't take away from that is the writing or the pacing or the way this stuff sets up. They just take the imagery away from it. They just take away the little things about it that they happened to be struck by without realizing that they were struck by them because of the rest of the narrative. This leads to the generation of directors and writers and devs after that foundational work of art creating knockoff bullshit that thinks that being edgy is the same as being interesting. This is a shock jock mentality, and it's not very useful. You can really see how this falls apart when they actually have to write a narrative, and the narrative they come up with is so laughably awful and out of left field that it becomes a meme that lasts for a decade. Being edgy and being good are unrelated. Being edgy and being interesting are unrelated. Edginess is just another form of spectacle. And like most forms of spectacle, you have to use it in a way that makes it work. You have to earn it. If we look at the foundational works in this particular medium that probably caused this sudden upswell in edginess, we're probably going to look at things like Game of Thrones. In Game of Thrones, for example, the evil king dude pours molten gold down a prisoner's throat and kills him horribly, and it's edgy. But the point here is that it is not just being edgy for the sake of being edgy. This is to show that this guy is a total monster. It's not just edgy to appeal to the audience. It's edgy because it drives the narrative, and everybody around's like, okay, let's not go that way, and we'll just be over here. Ooh, zoom. It develops the narrative. It shows how much of a monster the villain is. It traps the heroes in a really dangerous situation. This is how you earn your edge. And it's the same with most other kinds of storytelling beats, like redemption arcs or jokes. You have to earn them. They have to be in the narrative in a way that causes the narrative to move forward. And in the foundational work of art, for the current wave of edge, that's usually true. How good the work of art is will depend on your preferences, but at the very least, the edge in the first couple seasons of Game of Thrones had a place. It existed for a reason, and it helped to drive the in-world narrative. It wasn't just there to be spectacle because it was in fashion. What really astonishes me about the way that edginess is perceived these days is because we're on the tail end of this giant wave of edge. We are here, and it's going that way, right? People have gotten so used to being edgy that people have been telling me that things I'm calling edgy aren't edgy. Like, oh, Baldur's Gate 3 isn't actually as edgy as you're making it out to be. You're just overreacting. And it's like, Baldur's Gate 3 is literally as edgy as the legal contract they signed would allow. They literally chose the most edgy things they could choose and threw them all together into an unending parade of edge. And the problem is, They never earned it. They never earned the body horror. They never earned the eldritch abominations. They never earned the demon attacks. They never earned the ship made of flesh and bone. They never earned all of your allies wanting to kill you. They never earned the child brain with legs. They never earned any of this stuff. It's just there because it's in fashion. And that's a problem. And I'm calling up Baldur's Gate 3 because that's what's been the kerfuffle on my channel for the past week, but it's really a lot of different media. There's a lot of media like this. They're thinking that being edgy is all you need, when in fact, being edgy is just a tool. It's a hammer. You have to have something you want to hammer in order for it to make any sense and work out. So when you're thinking about how cool it would be if you had, slug monsters killing off the player slowly or whatever, yeah, that's fine. I'm not offended by it. What's it doing? What is your hammer hammering? I'm not a hammer fetishist. Use your hammer on something useful. At least that's my opinion. And I watched the same kind of thing explode and fade away back in the 90s. So I'm pretty confident that it's going to do the same thing. We're going to see a boom in non-edgy shit. We're going to see, very shortly, we'll see a boom in making fun of edgy shit. And then after that, we'll see a boom in not being edgy because it's just a tool. It's not inherently good or bad. See ya.